To the first part of the instructions, back to the birds. I'll go ahead and base the beak just to show you a little bit about that. About pat blending. I'm not going to do the eye. Okay, so we're going to use black to do the black portion of the beak, and it's just to do it in a chisel blender, but you know, my favorite brush is a filbert, so I'm going to start with filbert. I might switch over to a blender, but I'm going to start with filbert. And here's where I might really regret not sealing this, because it's going to grab. So I might stop in the middle and seal it. Okay, see, I'm using just straight global paint, altered paint. But I'm not putting very much at all on my brush. Let me wipe the brush off and you can see how much I put on there. Okay. I'm like loading it in this runway here, and just barely loading it. There's no excess on here at all. A lot of times the problem might be if you're using too much paint on your brush, because then it swims too. If you've ever painted, and if you haven't painted oils, you haven't painted with Sherry Nelson, but Sherry Nelson uses almost nothing on her brush, and it's kind of like that with these. Because you don't want it to swim. You want to be able to, you want to move the paint and control and direct it, and not the paint control and direct you. Okay. Now while those are wet, I need to make a little bit of light gray. So I've got some warm white over here in one of my little things. And even though it doesn't say warm white, that's what I'm using because that's what I got convenient. So I'm going to come over here and just make a little gray. And all I did was put warm white on the brush that already had the black on it, and just, you know, keep that in it until it's light. And again, I have almost nothing on my brush. And I'm just going to make a little, very lightly, a little streak in there, and one here, I think. Okay, so now really important is now I put my streak on there. Now I'm going to wipe my brush. Let's use this one. It's bigger. Now I'm just going to come in here, pull back on my brush, and pat very, very lightly around the edges to just soften those edges. And then I'm going to wipe my brush. You're using an almost dry brush in a lot of this. Okay, so then it wants us to let's see. Going to base the light section with raw sienna and titanium white, and highlight it with titanium white. Again, since I got warm white out here, that's what I'm going to use. And I need raw sienna. So I'll open my thing back up. just bring out a little dab of raw sienna and put it on my palette. Use very, 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 very little paint with the altereds. So here's my white. You know, I'm using the same brush, so I've got a little black in there, so how about I clean that off? Okay, let's go back into the white and then come over here and lighten up this raw sienna. And again, almost nothing on the brush. Come in here and fill it in. I'm thinking that one of the problems is that you've got, still got a lot of gray in there, is that you've got too much paint on your brush. Okay. Get a little more white. See, I'm just barely tapping it in there. Almost no paint at all. And coming over here and just mixing a little bit at a time. And because it's not sealed, it's really grabbing my paint. But it's not too bad. I'm just having to mix some more. Okay, and then the instructions say to highlight with white. So again, I'm just going to barely tap into this white that I've got. And kind of smooth it on my palette. Whoa. And then just come in and put some streaky highlights in there. And I'm not going to blend these. Okay. I'm going to take a wash of raw sienna and put some streaks into the beak. And I don't have any Cindy's mixed up, so I'm just going to use straight glaze. Just going to dip into the glaze. Come over here and dip into the raw sienna and pull it out to the side and make it transparent. Still very little paint on my brush. And then I'm just going to wash in some streaks. Some streaky places. After that dries, you might want to go back and put some more white in it. You know, just play with that. Okay, let's go over to the birds now. I mean, the red part of the birds. And you want to kind of paint these in, you know, a real choppy motion. Nothing really smooth because you're trying to emulate feathers.